and gentlemen, welcome back in another episode in which I'm sharing with you how did I cope with the 12 hours minimum rest prior to every flight. When you hear or read something that doesn't make sense to you, ask a question about it. A lot of stress has been generated by the way we look at things. The problem is that our perspective is heavily influenced by our values, beliefs, and assumptions. I'm completely aware of all the experiences that are shared on internet and I respect them all. Everyone has the right to raise up their voice, just like the way I do it now, sharing my experience with all of you. As I have said in one of my first videos, you are the only one who can decide which story will be your motivation. Yes, Qatar Airways has a lot of different lifestyle and a work style within the cabin crew community, which is incorporated in certain standards that must be followed. Coping with these standards wasn't a difficult experience for me, as I learned to incorporate them in my daily life, and that made me happier, healthier, and more successful in my job. If you could improve your perspective and focus on what you have rather than what you don't, you can conquer as well. At times, when a negative feeling has come up to you, please ask yourself a question. If I was feeling positive about this, what would I be thinking or doing? One thing that you must understand is that crew members that are working in Qatar Airways still, and for those of us that have been working before, we were not prisoners there. Nobody took us by force to go and work and to live there. We didn't stay there because we were not allowed to go back. We stayed there and we worked for our will. Very often I see my colleagues after they put the resignation letter and or after they finish their last flight, they would put comments like freedom. What is freedom for them and what is freedom for me is totally different. Why the 12 hours of minimum rest never affected me was because this was my personal rule as well. Remember in one of the first videos that I told you that you must first of all study the airline that you're going to work for. You must first familiarize yourself with what lifestyle, what work style the airline has, because mentioning the 12 hours of minimum rest before every flight is something connected to the work style of the entire population, of the entire community for the cabin crew for Qatar Airways. You must be ready to work along with this work style, as I would say it. If you're a person that you're currently going to your work without being properly rested, if you're a person that after finishing clubbing at 4 a.m., you are ready to go at 8 a.m. At work and you are performing your duties completely fine, which I really doubt in that, but if you're this type of person, then please don't apply for the job position of a cabin crew for Qatar Airways, because for the work environment and for the work culture, absolutely over there it's not acceptable. Now I want to mention one personal example of mine. My husband is a doctor cardiologist here in Germany. I am living with him for the past 1 year and we were in a relationship for almost a year and a half before we get married. I have never seen my husband being out clubbing the night before he goes to work. I have never seen my husband sleeping less than 8 hours on the day before he goes to work, the night before he goes to work, or the day. Sometimes he works a night shift. Believe me, my husband doesn't leave the house for 12 hours before every shift. Not because I have implemented this rule here or he has implemented. It's because his job is so much responsibly connected to his proper rest prior going to work, that it's completely unacceptable for us having guests at night, even guests at night, and staying up late at night if he has work to do at 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning. We always go to bed 10 o'clock at night when he has to leave 8 in the morning, and prior to that we are having our evening tea time, our dinner time, or depends what we're doing. We avoid going out, avoid drinking coffee and all these things. Now, I would like to tell you that a lot of people in the world are practicing this rule not because it's implemented in the so-called rules and regulations that so many of you don't want to tolerate it, but this rule has been invented for a reason. I can tell you a small example. Many of the crew members that I have been interacting before would come and tell me, I don't need a 12 hours rest before my flight to Bahrain, or before my flight to Dubai, or I don't know where. It's a short-term flight. But do you know that in aviation, not all the time things are going as per your schedule, that you can be scheduled for the short haul flight, but you might end up on a long haul flight. Why? Just operation requirements can happen, or even an unexpected situation can happen. I don't want to go to that extent, but yes, I have to mention that an emergency can happen. Now, how you gonna deal with that emergency? It's really depending on how well you are rested. Yet there are so many people, despite this work style that I like to say, despite this work culture of having a curfew, of having a curfew of must be staying in the accommodation for 12 hours and being well rested before your flight, there are still people going and will be going for the flight without being properly rested because they don't want to, they cannot sleep, because they have a jet lag problem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, cabin crew were recruited because they showed exceptional managing skills to themselves, to situations. I've said that I'm gonna make a video for your sleeping management and how you can maintain a proper sleeping management and balance those jet lags, which, believe me, it's not impossible. I have been doing that for 10 years, and I have not been doing it because I don't have a choice, okay? I made the choice to stay in the airline for the past 10 years, and I was very happy while working as a cabin crew. Few days ago I received a message from, and believe me, all these types of messages that I have received are from ex-employees who left the company and who are currently working jobs that are that are not even 10% close to the job that they had in money-wise, I'm saying, salary-wise. So they kind of throw these frustrating comments to me, which I'm taking it without problem, because I'm very happy in my current life. I know I've done good in my career, and I know that in the current situation that I am, I couldn't be more blessed and more happy, and I'm really looking forward to my future career progress that is coming. So there was a comment like, you know, I know that you're trying to show the nice part of the job, but not everything is nice as you're saying. Definitely not. The job is not pink itself. The job is not the best job in the world. If it was for me, if I felt good in it, it's because I worked for it. If you or anyone who's watching this video didn't felt nice during your flying career, that doesn't mean that when you resign and when you leave, you should be spreading so much of negativity around. Let's focus on the positive sides. There will be still people applying to get the job. Respecting the 12 hours of minimum rest before your flight, being well rested for your flight, will not bring you anything bad. Believe me, I still got married. I was still dating my husband. Nobody stopped me for dating my husband. And my husband was still coming and visiting me in Doha. And at the same time, I left my flying career after 10 years in an excellent health condition. And at the age of 35, when I resigned, I had no problems conceiving and having a baby because I was focusing on maintaining my health properly. I was properly resting before every flight, not because someone told me. It's because I know it's important for performing my duties. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot perform your duties. You cannot be able to perform in any emergency if it arises, and it can arise in any situation if you're not properly rested. So if you understand this in this way, that you are well rested, first of all, for yourself, you will not have any problems. But if you sit down with someone who has left the company, who works somewhere else, who's not happy about the current job that he has, and this kind of negative will be telling you, how come you allow yourself to be treated like that? Like what? Like caring about your health? You've been treated bad because you're caring about your health and you are properly resting before the flight. I don't think that's too bad. Few months ago, I think I was communicating with one gentleman, or perhaps weeks ago, I don't know, and he's from Frankfurt actually, and he's a dentist by profession, and he saw this he saw my stories, in which one of the stories, the questions and answers that I was posting, he saw that some of the people were asking me that is it true that 12 hours you have to stay in your accommodation before the flight? And he texted to me saying, I wish I worked for a hospital that I must stay 12 hours before I go to shift, because my work is also very, very exhausting, and I have been so not responsible. I have been going sometimes clubbing before my work, and I have been going so much unwell rested that I wish my company that I work for has this rule, so I will be always well rested and I'm not going to be suffering at work the next day. So therefore, as I said, familiarize yourself with all the terms and conditions prior to applying. Evaluate yourself. Are you able to fit in? Rather than going around gossiping and talking to people, you create your own imagination in your head whether you are able to cope with the vision and mission and the work style of the company that you would like to work. Therefore, you're gonna find the answer whether this job is suitable for you or not. Rather than being later on, after a couple of years, a frustrated cabin crew that's going to be talking with another person and another person that this job is so bad and you cannot wait to go back home or to, I don't know, go somewhere and feel freedom. Guys, certain type of behavior that is requested to be manned is not there because somebody has something personal against you or against me. It's for the simple reason, as I said, being well rested, maintaining that decorum, and having this professionalism in you requires a lot of preparations before that, and definitely it's not an easy work. That's why when you go for the interview for a cabin crew, and when you are interacting with the recruitment team, they are looking for someone who can be committed to different lifestyle. The job of a cabin crew is not just a job. You read this very often, it's a lifestyle. And believe me, it's different lifestyle for the cabin crew. In American Airlines, in Jet Airways, in Emirates Airlines, in Qatar Airways. We do not have a unique and same lifestyle. We have similarities to our jobs. We have similar safety equipment. We have similar service. We have similar accommodations or similar transports. One has it, one doesn't have it. That's the same with the famous rules and regulations that you would like to name it. And my another advice would be, when you go for that assessment day, and you have been lucky enough to be invited for the assessment day, you will have an opportunity to ask questions. Rather than coming to me and asking me these questions of curfew, of what time I can come back, and what time I should, how much time I should be in my accommodation, ask the recruitment team. I think the recruitment team deserves to see that you are interested in this question, and then I think that they are the proper people who's gonna answer to you, give you all the clarifications on all the questions and queries that you have on this subject, but I just share with you my my small story and my small point of view of how I see things. And yeah, I'm gonna be seeing you in another video very soon. Until then, stay blessed and have a nice day. Bye bye.